Alrighty YouTube, another one of Kip's Clips. So I want to bring you a short segment that the UK column has done. I've done a bit on PI, paedophile information exchange, and their links to the Labour Party and Liberty and the National, what's it called? The National Council for Civil Liberties. Now, I'm going to run this piece. I'm on my laptop, so I don't have my editing software and stuff, so I'm going to run this piece at the end. First, I just want to fire in a few wee bits of information on my own behalf. Obviously, as always, UK column, great job and presentation. You've got Patrick Hewitt, an ex-MP. She was General Secretary of the National Council for Civil Liberties, which is PI. The dates are important, 1974. Then you've got Harriet Harmond, 74 to 82. She was the legal officer. Then you've got Jack Dromney, who turns out to be Harriet Harmon's husband. But these people seemed perfectly happy with promoting an agenda to make... just run this forward a wee bit, try and get the... There, it's there. I just wanted to... So they were trying to legalise the age of consent down to 4 years old and legalise child sex, legalise taking pornographic pictures of children, legal as long as there was nobody harmed. Now, the reason I wanted to show you this is look at the dates when these two fucking paedophile supporting agenda pushing pieces of shit rocked up. The reason I wanted to show you this is, as always, comes back to Scotland, done it great. PI, Paedophile Information Exchange, very real, actual, factual organisation that used to legally exist in the UK, and they used to promote paedophile fucking rights. Scumbags. Right, go and look into them. They were first founded. They were set up as a special interest groups within the Scottish Minorities Group. Fortunately, it was up this neck of the border, this scumbag paedophile information exchange group started. Now, the important thing is, since the majority of inquiries were from England, so they must have had more fucking pedos down there than up here, so that's a good thing, but maybe they've got more people, so who knows. It relocated to London in 1975. 1975, it rocks up in London. Just a year after these two fucking Labour MPs, Member of Parliament, who are supporting the legislation legalising child sex and bringing the age of consent down to 4 fucking years old. I mean, I've heard some arguments, man, bring it down to 12, like the Dutch model and stuff like that, and I think those are reasonable arguments to be had. 4 fucking years old. And then this guy that was related to the magazine, left-wing magazine Rights, he said consensual sex between adults and children is simply people of different age groups being nice to each other. That's the mentality of these fucking folk. That's the mentality of these fucking cretins that stayed that were in the Parliament. And that is the mentality of a lot of MPs and royal family fuckwits that are still currently rocking about. Now, what I wanted to quickly show you, like, beware of this fucking blinking horrible wee fucking bitch. She'll sound fucking lovely, she will sell you a shit sandwich, and you'll think it's the best thing ever because she's promoting liberty rights. The thing they don't fucking remind you is they're also fighting for paedophile fucking rights under the disguise of rights for... Look, take your Orwellian glasses off, man, and read this shit. Liberty, there it's just giving you a wee bit of history. What was it I was looking for? About liberty. What was it? We seek to protect civil liberties and promote human rights for everybody. Yeah, the human rights they're trying to fucking promote are paedophile fucking human rights. You see how this is all disguised? Orwellian fucking, it's never what it says on the fucking tin. I'm going to have to play this. I'll leave a link for all this down below, you can go and check it out. Keep an eye on this stupid Shama Chabakri. Anybody that fucking keeps their eyes closed more than open when they're speaking to you, something fucking no right here. I don't like her. She's associated with a paedophile supporting organisation. Now I'm going to quickly just run you through. Need to get it 1520, I believe, and then I'll run you through. Well, I'm going to try to, if this faking computer decides to play ball. Hate being off a home soil, man. Right, there we go, we'll get it there. If it decides to work, fingers crossed. I'll leave a link for all these groups down below, and you'll see how they all coexist, and how Pi no longer existed, and then Liberty. And it's all the same folk with pushing the same agenda. And what is that agenda? Human rights for everybody. Sounds great. Read the small print. They want human rights for paedophiles to fuck children as well. And for whatever rhyme or reason, that isn't working right now. Let me see if I can do this. Jesus, Joni. Computer's running slow as shite.
This royal house in Saudi have access to those mothers' central prison.
I'll leave a link for it down below. You can always just go yourself, and
it really brings us on to this one.
Indeed, yes. It's come out that the Labour MPs have come out and apologised for being involved with Pi, the paedophile information exchange, and Brian's been doing some work on this morning, putting some pieces together.
Well, we decided the easiest thing was to take out the key pieces of the information in the paper, and this is really what they're talking about. They're talking about Patricia Hewitt, ex-MP now. She was working with Harriet Harman, MP, and we've got Mr. Jack Dromey as well involved, and this is the key organisation that all three of these people were involved with, the National Council for Civil Liberties. We're going back into the late 70s at the moment. Mike?
Yeah, Jack Dromey is Harriet Harman's husband, isn't that correct?
Indeed he is, yes. Thank you for reminding me of that. So here's the roles that we're looking at within National Council for Civil Liberties. And this is where it starts to get very mucky, because NCCL was involved, as Louise just said, with Pi, but also they were there with the left-wing magazine Rights. Now this is information that's come out of the Daily Mail, very, very comprehensive article, so well done the Daily Mail.
Well, you should be commending the column, because the column has been exposing this for a very long time.
Well, that's true, but I'm going to say praise where it's due, Lou. We know that we have got mainstream reporters who on this particular subject won't give up. But here's a quote from a gay paedophile involved with the Rights magazine, Mike Morton. Consensual sex between adults and children is simply people of different age groups being nice to each other. So it's pretty interesting stuff. So direct links between the National Council of Civil Liberty and the Paedophile Information Exchange, and what sort of thing was going on? Well, of course, legalisation of child sex, and they wanted the age of consent reduced to 4 years old. So this is a very, very interesting picture building up now. Police investigations going on, which we'll mention, around senior members, particularly of the Labour administration, but Harriet Harman, of course, deputy leader of the existing Labour Party. So for viewers who are overseas, you're now starting to get a real snapshot into the quality of the people that we've got running Britain. And of course, we've seen over many recent months the establishment running scared of a full and proper police investigation into the high-level paedophile rings, particularly those around Elm House. So, can you tell us about this?
Yeah, I had a little look a while back now on who was behind Pi, and here we have this gentleman here. His name is Peter Wrighton. He is dead now, and he was actually the founder of the Pi. And he linked very closely. We've got some quotes actually come up here now with links to Cyril Smith.
Well, this is the main bit.
The main bit is the victim who had pointed out about Cyril Smith and Peter Wrighton being at various parties. The victim said Wrighton's evil network stretched to the top of the UK establishment and that he brought him into contact with fellow pervert MP Cyril Smith. So this then took me to another gentleman.
Can I just, sorry to interject, just mention here that of course it's top policeman Bernard Hogan Howe from the Met Police who said that he's not going to investigate the paedophile activity around Cyril Smith. That's an interesting question for a policeman to say he's not going to investigate when we've got activity around politicians, albeit dead.
So after looking at Peter Wrighton, I came across this chap. His name is Charles Napier. He was a former teacher. He was let off so many times, ended up in other countries, foreign countries, ended up getting sacked from a few schooling jobs, then finding ways to get round through his connections back into schools. He was then eventually picked up, and this guy was the treasurer of Pi, and I'm still doing a little bit more investigation on whether this guy is still inside or not, but there are links to, I believe, Sydney Cook as well. But I'm actually going to be speaking to Bill Maloney in person on Friday night, and that show is going to be aired live here at 5 o'clock, so we want to find out a lot more about this chap and Peter Wrighton.
Okay, well, let's come back to the main bit of the story here. So these are some statements made by Harriet Harman and Patricia Hewitt on the subject of the paedophile information exchange. So this one's from Harman, an annual report dated 1976. She describes Pi in glowing terms as a campaigning counselling group for adults sexually attracted to children. And I'm going to say this is all information out of the Daily Mail article. Hewitt complains that Pi had recently been the subject of a hysterical and highly inaccurate article in the Sunday People newspaper headlined "The Vilest Men in Britain," and that was designed to foster misunderstanding and hatred as to what these men were up to. So two highly protective statements of Pi by these two women. In 1978, the National Council for Civil Liberties submitted a briefing paper to Parliament on the upcoming Protection of Children Bill, which sought, amongst other things, to outlaw child pornography. Written by Harriet Harman, the briefing advanced an extraordinary argument that images of naked children should only be considered pornographic if it could be proven that the subject had suffered. So the onus was on a tiny child, and presumably their parents, to prove that paedophile activity had taken place. In 1976, NCCL lobbied for the age of consent to be lowered to 10 years and for incest to be legalised.
Whoa.
And in 1978, NCCL lobbied for child pornography laws to be relaxed. So we're not talking about a little bit of nibbling around the edges here. We're not talking about the age of consent being reduced to 15. We are talking about children as young as 4 being in the target of these people. And people supporting this are now in positions of power within Westminster and particularly within the Labour Party. But there was a bit more to the story, and it was that there at the moment is supposedly a thorough high-level government investigation. I think that's a bit of an oxymoron because I don't think we've ever seen a thorough government investigation. But they're looking at basically connections between Prime Minister James Callaghan, this man Merrill Rees, former Home Secretary. I believe he was also Northern Ireland Secretary at one point. But in his reign, public funds were actually being pushed through to the paedophile information exchange. I'm going to use the word alleged. It was alleged that public money was being pushed through to the paedophile information exchange. And this is the key bit. Police are now investigating the organisation as part of Operation Fernbridge, launched in the wake of the Jimmy Savile affair. Remember, Jimmy Savile tightly linked to the royal family, and in particular Charles. A senior source on the investigation says there is evidence that members of Pi were abusing.
Really sorry to stop it there. I've got a 15-minute limit, so I'll leave a link for us down below. You can follow up on it. Amazing information. It actually really just goes to show you how deeply this goes into Parliament, where there